Well, now I want to take us back to our panel to analyze some of the latest. We have Brigadier General Amir Avivi with us, as well as Ambassador Danny Ayalon. Thank you for staying with us. Amir, I want to ask you, let me start with you. There's a lot of elation over the imminent return of the hostages, but this deal means the release of 250 convicted murderers, in addition to 2,000 terrorists arrested post-October 7th. How dangerous is this for Israel's future?
Well, obviously, it's very dangerous because it can rebuild the leadership of Hamas. And the way to deal with it is first make sure that they don't stay in Judea and Samaria or in Gaza, but somewhere else. And also clarify that any attempt of any of them to go back to terrorism will be met with an Israeli response and targeting of terrorists. We cannot allow our reality, as we saw when we released 1,000 terrorists in the Shalit deal, among them also Sinwar, and let them build for years and years terror infrastructure, and which brought us to the reality that we are fighting this infrastructure for 2 years, and we see how really powerful they build this. So we'll have to be very, very proactive and make sure they cannot rebuild themselves again, just as we're doing in Lebanon, in Syria, and in Yemen, in other places.
Now, Ambassador Ayalon, what does this ceasefire mean for the region as a whole? Are we welcoming in a new era of regional peace, as President Trump implies, or is it too soon to say that?
I guess it's too soon, yet to be seen. But in any case, this was a necessary step forward. Without it, we couldn't even think of a progress. Now, whether it was a sufficient condition to overcome or not remains to be seen. I think that the interest of the region and the individual interest of the countries here is the same. The Saudis, the Bahrain, or the Emirates, certainly Egypt and Jordan, share the same interest with Israel to actually keep Iran at bay, not allow Iran to threaten us all, and we are only halfway in the dismantling of the Iran illegal nuclear capabilities. But I believe that this is a strong enough interest to bring together the moderate Arab countries, the Sunni Arab countries, with Israel. And of course, always there are those who can scuttle, those who can really try to fail the region and take it towards the radical, whether it's Qatar, whether it's Turkey, although they were very instrumental this time. But just as they persuaded Hamas to give in, they can do the other way. So we still have to be very watchful. And I believe that the American involvement and overseeing also is important to endure, for it to endure.
Now, Amir, what are the military achievements that we've seen from the IDF in Gaza that helped pave the path for this agreement to be reached? Is it enough? I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but we've already seen footage from Gaza of civilians chanting in celebration, not just of a ceasefire, but actually chanting Khaybar, Khaybar, Ya Yahud, the people of Gaza will return, which is a clear call to genocide, referencing, of course, the massacre historically of the Jews in Khaybar by the army of Muhammad. Have the lessons been learned here?
Well, they're not going to change their culture so fast, and we'll see if there will be a de-radicalization of the society. But the achievements are very clear. The IDF conquered fully 80% of the Gaza Strip and dismantled all the terror infrastructure, also moving the Gazans to the humanitarian zone. Today, the Gazan society is in an area which consists 15% of the Gaza Strip, and the Gaza Strip is small. 80% is controlled by the IDF. The Gaza City has been emptied and they moved to the humanitarian zone. And because they booby-trapped everything, because everything is connected to tunnels, almost all the infrastructure of Gaza has been leveled down to deal with this terror infrastructure. And it will take decades, if at all, to rebuild this again. So I don't see what exactly they're celebrating. in this area, the IDF controls, we managed to create some local governance of clans that oppose Hamas and are already managing different areas. And even in the area that Hamas still controls, in this 15%, you have militias fighting Hamas alongside Israel. So I think that this reality really brought Hamas, Qatar, Turkey to the understanding that Hamas is not going to be able to govern anymore. They're going to be eradicated, and they better surrender now and give up and get out of Gaza. And the challenge is now to implement it. First, get the hostages, and then start the process of demilitarization of the Gaza Strip, and it will take time. There is still a lot of work to do, a lot of tunnels to dismantle, and other capabilities. I think that at the end, Hamas won't be in Gaza, and we'll see a new reality. I believe also that many Gazans, once now they open the border with Egypt, will get out and seek a different life. At least half of the Gazans would like to emigrate from the Gaza Strip.
All right, at the risk of sounding pessimistic, we saw this deal made ultimately as a result of Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar applying tremendous pressure to Hamas. I want to ask you, Ambassador, I have just under a minute. Why wasn't this done 734 days ago?
Well, I think for two reasons. First of all, I think Hamas was not ready for it. Hamas thought that it had the upper hand, especially when it came to the PR war, as they were actually cheating and deceiving, supposedly showing the entire world the starvation and everything like that. So they felt that Israel was isolated, and this is why they didn't want to negotiate. Their card was the hostages, and they were not willing to give it up or not to give it entirely up. I think now, when Israel is just stepping on their throat, and on the other hand, they have all their allies, Qatar namely, and Turkey, understanding that they should please the United States and get something out of it. I hope not on the expense of Israel's security, but I think these two I would say, factors brought about the Hamas concession.
All right, we do need to wrap that up, but a big thank you to Brigadier General Amir Avivi and also Ambassador Danny Ayalon for your insights on this historic day.